Well, joining us tonight to talk about all these developments, particularly over the last 24 hours, and whether this is the Pakistani army that's attempting to sabotage the talks. We have with us here in the studio the former Information and Broadcasting Minister and Senior Congress leader Manish Tiwari, from the BJP, Senior Spokesperson Siddharthnath Singh. Ambassador KC Singh joins us once again tonight. Also joining us, Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad. And from Pakistan, we're joined by Ejaz Haider, a well-known journalist and author, and Brigadier Javed Hussein, a well-known defense expert who joins us this evening from Karachi. Let me first take this question to Ejaz, who's joining us via Skype from Lahore. Ejaz, what is the sense that you're getting there from Pakistan about why all of this is happening barely days after the two prime ministers met in Ufa and attempted to repair the relationship somewhat? What is your sense?
Because what happened in Ufa really had nothing much in it as far as Pakistan is concerned, and I think that is something which needs to be understood very clearly in terms of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif going out on a limb and coming out with some did not address the role. One has to put it in a border which has how Mr. Narendra Modi to recast his policy towards, and which is in sort of contrast how he has been.
Ejaz, my apologies. I think we have a problem with that Skype line. Let me just call you back. I got a sense of what you were saying. You were saying that perhaps the problem here is that nothing much came out of Ufa. And I know that Ambassador KC Singh, that's been one of the, the running commentaries in Pakistan over the past 5 days or so. The feeling that, Pakistan gave in too much, that this was a one-sided statement that was too much in favor of India. Do you see this, Ambassador Singh, as then a very clear attempt by the Pakistani military establishment to say that it is not on board and will not be on board?
Yes, that is what it looks like, because the debate started in Pakistan that the K word was missing. Kashmir is not mentioned. And that's why Mr. Sartaj Aziz was on the back foot when he went before the media and he said, no, all outstanding issues includes Kashmir. Kashmir is right on top. It is not in the bottom or hidden anywhere. So this went on in Pakistan, and obviously the military has decided to dissociate itself because the impression being given was that the military is on board, the two Sharifs are together, the Chief of Army Staff Sharif and the Prime Minister Sharif, and therefore now talks can go ahead, etc. So this is along expected lines, considering how the public narrative panned out in Pakistan. But really it's very childish, this kind of thing about a drone, and this again brings to light the need to get the DGMOs together very quickly, because if there is such a drone, and if either it has a camera on board or it doesn't, and if it has a camera on board, let the Pakistani army meet the Indian army and show the pictures. You'll know what that drone was photographing, if it was photographing at all. And you could very quickly determine if it had any military application, as Vishnu was explaining. So there was no need to have gone overboard showing the pictures and then followed by escalated firing and breaking the ceasefire. So this is a pattern of Pakistani army behavior. I think this needs to be the relations between India and Pakistan need to be insulated from this, which is what the government rather belatedly. I would have expected the government to have come out very quickly. And I was also not happy that the meeting was convened by the Home Minister. Home Minister, External Affairs Minister and Defence Minister. Why didn't Prime Minister convene the meeting? It should have been a Cabinet Committee on Security Affairs. After all, shouldn't Prime Minister brief his three senior colleagues? Only the NSA was sent there. So in fact, PM should have met them very quickly, and after that, very early in the morning, before the news cycle started, government should have given their point of view rather than allowing it to play the whole day, and then you field the Foreign Secretary in the evening.
No, but let me ask General Shankar Prasad that one of the questions I certainly had all day in the course of covering the story was, since the two prime ministers also agreed that the BSF DG and the Pakistani Rangers, his counterpart at the Pakistani Rangers would meet, that the DGMOs would meet in a month or so, do you believe that it would have been wise to perhaps push that forward? Because, this is to reduce tension on the border and the LOC. Maybe this is the time to do that let both sides actually have a dialogue sooner rather than later. And that's not been committed to just yet.
Yes, I would completely agree and endorse that point of view. that the two DGMOs and the two DGs of the BSF and Rangers should meet as soon as possible. But there's one little report, and I'll come back to it in a moment, which said that for a couple of hours, our border post continued to locate the Pakistan Ranger opposite him, and there was no response for a couple of hours, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Therefore, they are deliberately not wanting to talk. As far as these meetings a month ahead or 20 days ahead, obviously, the delegation of Pakistan that was in UFA trying to put this into paper was of the view that they'll have to go back and consult the military whether this is possible or not possible, which is why they said at a later date. And in the first phase, they wanted to meet just the DG, BSF and the RR. It was only in the second phase that the DGMOs were to meet. The situation on the border is so serious. They have been consistently firing for the last 3-4 days, ever since Nawaz Sharif has gone back to Pakistan. The Jammu border is active, the Bhimber Gully is active, the Kashmir Valley is active. Now what is this all about? It is only to demonstrate to their elected government and to India that what has been agreed in UFA does not mean a thing to us. What we think is what is right, and this is exactly what will do. The unfortunate part, and a very unfortunate part, is this, that the Pakistan military does not see what the rest of the world is seeing. India, all the neighborhood countries, China, Russia, everybody wants to have economic development. That's the agenda of all the international forums, whether it is SAARC, ASEAN, SCO or BRICS. But Pakistan is unable to participate in any of these because our constituency of the military does not want that to happen, because they will lose their relevance. I completely endorse the idea that the two DGMOs must meet, resolve this matter of drone, resolve this matter of firing across the line of control and the international border as soon as possible. Unnecessarily civilian lives are being lost, and if this continues, I am afraid it may escalate. Our Foreign Secretary and other ministers have already stated in public domain that Pakistan will get a suitable response at a place, date and time of our choosing, and that response is going to be quite difficult for Pakistan to accept, and it will be a similar thing what happened in November and October last year. They will then run to the United Nations and plead there.
Absolutely. I think escalation at the end of the day is in nobody's interest, and Manish Tiwari, under those circumstances then, given that the Prime Ministers have barely met, it's not even been a week, and we're already seeing this unraveling, would you say, despite being in the opposition, that the government's handled it in the best way that it could have at the moment, given that you don't want an entire process to unravel even before it started?
Well, the reality, Nidhi, is that there is no process, and the paradox is, after the Pakistani military shoots down the drone today, a couple of days earlier, the military establishment fielded Sartaj Aziz to torpedo the UFA process. So therefore, where is the process that we are talking about? You see, the reality is that India as a state has not been able to figure out what does it want out of its engagement with Pakistan. You see, so therefore, you have these sporadic kicks and starts over the past 1 year, the offs and ons, that you invite Nawaz Sharif, then you do not have the foreign secretary level talks because of the Hurriyat standoff, then you send Jaishankar on a spin of South Asia, ending up in Islamabad, to try and restart the process, and then you have UFA, and you have UFA coming apart. So therefore, first of all, Government of India needs to figure out what does it really want out of this engagement with Pakistan, and then, possibly put in place the mechanics for doing it. So therefore, as I see it from our perspective or my perspective, this government does not have a strategy, and let alone a strategy, even proper tactics with regard to Pakistan.
Even today?
Even today. You see,
what else could they have done today?
See, the question is, why did this situation come about? After the UFA meeting, you had people from the Indian side who started saying, standing up and saying that Kashmir was not discussed between the two prime ministers. Now, you know that Kashmir is like a red rag to a bull when it comes to Pakistan. So therefore, the moment you did that, the Pakistanis were under pressure from their domestic constituency. In any case, the military establishment is never too happy with the Indo-Pakistani engagement. So therefore, the moment Sartaj Aziz, who's a living testimonial to the follies of the Indo-Pakistan relationship going back to 1947, the gentleman is 86 years old, stood up and started talking about Kashmir, Balochistan, blah, 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 being a part of the talks.
So you're
it was
saying
all over.
you're saying our chest beating, in a sense, push them into a corner.
Well,
okay,
yes.
Let me take that to Siddharthnath Singh before I go to my guests in Pakistan. Siddharthnath Singh, your response there to Manish's criticism that, in a sense, our reactions, the reactions of your party spokespersons here, pushed, you know, the Pakistani
spokespersons, sorry
yeah,
to interrupt.
Yeah.
But, you know, government interlocutors who were supposed to be the interlocutors at Pakistan.
Yeah. So Siddharth,
Nidhi, can I speak?
Sure.
Can I? Well, Nidhi, I thought Manish will be, would hold on today and restrain himself when we have a Pakistani guest to criticize between BJP and the Congress. But let me put this, unfortunately he hasn't, but I will still hold on, but I would request Manish and the Congress leader not to be childish like the Pakistani have been childish in showing that the drone belonged to India, which is a toy for use during the marriage purposes. So rather than coming with the old rhetorics, forgetting very well what the Congress regime had done, I think it is important to understand there was no chest beating. If the chest beating and the domestic pressures, as been explained, is the cause for Pakistani to do, then there are domestic pressures on the Indian side. Do you feel that the retaliation should be that heavy? Or the way we should be also talking about in the same tone and tenor and with the rhetoric? I don't think the maturity comes there. There are certain, let me put it in a little simpler way, there is no composite dialogue. There is a multilateral forums have been used, particularly the SAARC and the SCOs, in which sideline talks have been taken. Yes, India has successfully managed to bring Pakistan to focus on the dialogue on terrorism. Yes, other issues are always discussed, but the key issue is in black and white, which becomes the starting point, and not like Sharm el-Sheikh, which becomes talks and terror, Baluchistan, all those things. So the talking point becomes terrorism and the way we can resolve and bring peace by checking terrorism. I think that's the key thing. There are red lines.
Ask you though,
and within
how
those
does the
red
BJP
lines,
see what is happening over the last 2 days?
Walk the talk. They have their own complicities. We have known from many years when even the Congress was there.
Do you see it as a clear message by the Pakistani military establishment that it's not on board?
But it is for the civilian government in Pakistan to rein them and then move forward. Now let us see what the Pakistan has to do. But yes, it has been very disturbing, and the Indian government has very forcefully come out today and given a response that India will not let their guard down and India will respond with all or retaliate with all force they have in their command.
Okay, let me take this to Brigadier Javed Hussain and to Ijaz Haider. Brigadier Hussain, what is going on, sir? What is the message that we're getting from Pakistan over these last few days, according to you? Why do you think tensions have escalated, sir, on the border?
You see, this has been going on for a very, very long time. India accusing Pakistan, Pakistan accusing India of ceasefire violations. Where will this take us? When will it end? Nobody knows. Now, there are two options. One option is to remain in a perpetual state of conflict, India and Pakistan. The other is to sit down and dispassionately discuss what exactly are the problems between these two countries. How does India see rapprochement with Pakistan and vice versa, Pakistan with India? Now, we've been having these flag meetings on the LOC, on the working boundary. Then we've been having meetings of DGMOs. Good. What is stopping the two army chiefs from meeting? If politicians can meet, if the DGMOs can meet, why not the two army chiefs? And settle the ceasefire violation business once and for all. Because recently Pakistan has been accused of firing in Akhnur sector. Pakistan, on the other hand, has said that Pukliya sector came under fire. Now, who will decide? Who will determine who is right, who is wrong? The military observer group of the United Nations is there on the Pakistani side. When Chubara, Charwa, across the Sialkot working boundary, Bajaragadi, Maharajke came under fire, lives were lost, villages were destroyed. The military observer group of the United Nations was brought to the site.